Okay, that should
or
work.
separate things that do.
See, hopefully that. Sorry about that. I rarely do this.
We do that right here. All right, there you
Okay.
go. Good job.
Apologies for that, everyone. Good afternoon once again, everyone. We're going. I'm being joined by Weapon here
Take it.
for a bubble bobble attempt. Anything can happen. So with that, we're ready for the countdown again. Oh, they're saying, they're not sure if you're there. Weapon.
It might need to just up the audio thing on Discord, or the overall audio, and just reduce your bubble bobble audio a little. I don't know.
I could reduce that actually.
Or that, since I might be being picked up from your speakers.
Let's see, maybe they might be able to hear you a bit more now. I lowered this.
Testing one. Testing one. Worst case scenario, I could just be the you got this voice in the background. That's all. You'll be alright. You'll be alright.
Hmm. I guess we could try this. Let's have a countdown.
All right, sure. It's a secret to everybody. All right, go ahead and just start. Go ahead and go. If they can hear me, they can hear me. Great. If not, well, it'll be what it is. So,
Okay.
3, 2, 1, you.
Okay. So usually the first number of levels only occupied by the aptly named Bubble Busters. The enemies have quite some interesting names, as I honestly wasn't sure what to call some of them.
Yeah, a lot of these guys are just weird. See if I can find the list of them so I can see. Yeah, there we go. Hey, that's the same music as in Bubble Bobble. Why, yes, yes it is.
That's unfortunate, losing one of many lives on a very easy level. Oh well, it's going to happen a lot more often.
So the general premise of this game is you're these little dragon guys. There are 2 players, and that's actually important for the true endings. But you're these little dragon guys. You can spit bubbles, and of course, eat little monsters, turn little monsters into points. And you're trying to rescue your girlfriend. Bub and Bob are the dragons. They're trying to rescue their girlfriend from the evil drunks. By the way, I do believe that is their actual name. They're the drunks.
That's actually what I would. That's actually what I referred them to before this. Apparently, the main boss of the game's name is a Grumple Grommet.
So, as if you weren't already aware, the general goal of each level is to bubble each of the monsters in the level and pop them with your mighty popping power, and do it in a fast enough time. Otherwise, you get what I like to call the fail whale, or what the game actually calls Baron von Blumma, which is a ghost whale. That the longer he's on the screen, the faster he gets. So you want to try to beat everything before he gets too fast for you to dodge. And usually, on a lot of these levels, that's not normally an issue, but
only at the beginning.
In the beginning, absolutely. It does get a little more pain in the backside.
Unless something goes majorly wrong in the first 30 levels, I would like to be able to, at the very least, see at least one umbrella and extend.
So the extends themselves, you see the letters on the left side. You get those letters by popping at least 3 or more monsters at once. I believe it's 3, you get 1, 4, you get 2, 5, you get 3, so on and so forth. But if you spell the word extend, it essentially finishes the level at whatever point you grab the last letter, and you get an additional life. Those are very useful for skipping the more annoying stages, especially if you can get the last letter on the next screen and then just pop that and be done with the level.
Also, alternatively, apparently if you manage to pop the last bubble of an enemy, but you die at the same time, you will go to the next level, but it still will result in the game over. But once you continue, it will be on that next level.
They got 2 letters on the screen. They're both already ones that you have. If there are letters left on the screen, depending at what point those letters spawn, new ones equivalent in number to the ones that were on that screen can appear in the next. So you see there, you got one of the letters pop up on the next screen. It is a different letter, but unfortunately it's one we already have.
And I'm hoping not to accidentally pop it, but it wouldn't be the end of a world if it does happen. But it's kind of mixed in with, couldn't avoid it. It's kind of mixed in right where the last enemy bubble.
So this is when the levels start getting a little trickier. This particular level, every level has a certain path where the bubbles flow. In some levels they just circle the map, and some levels they go to one specific point. In this level, depending on what side of the screen the bubbles or the monsters that are bubbled are placed on, it'll try to float to the very top and then to the sides, left or right. If you get into those left or right sides, it's somewhat tricky to get out of them. It's not the worst, but you want to, at best, avoid getting them in there because you have to work your way back out. But thankfully, the makers of Bobble saw fit to give you a fun little ability, and that's the ability to jump on the bubbles that are on the screen. So as long as you're holding the jump button before you land on one of the bubbles, you'll actually bounce off of it. If you're not, then you'll actually just crash through the bubble, which is usually what you want to do to actually defeat the enemy. And on if there's a little bit of low.
Not the best item I wanted to see this early on.
So the shoes are there are certain powers in the game as well. The shoes are actually a speed for your character. Makes your character a lot faster. However, it's kind of awkward in how it works with the inertia for jumping. But obviously it makes you faster, so it lets you cross the screen faster and dodge faster. There are also 3 candies. There's the green candy, which lets you shoot faster, the blue candy, which lets you shoot farther, and then there's the red candy, which gives you both of those things. Those are really your major power-ups in the game, but there are several other ones, such as bomb items, which will actually just destroy everything on the screen all at once. There's a cross item, which actually will summon a little spark thing that'll bounce around and kill the enemies that hit them. Then, of course, there's points galore. And of course, one thing that we love to see in Bobble is the parasol, which lets you skip anywhere from like 2, 3, 4, 5 levels, somewhere around there.
Depending on the color?
Depending on the color, of course.
I believe it's the blue umbrella that skips 5. Unless I'm mistaken on the color.
I forget which one, how many each one does. They're very good to have. Also, what you see in a couple other different types of bubbles in the screen. You see the blue water bubbles already. If you pop those, it drops a kind of a water flow, a water rush of water that, if it strikes an enemy, will grab them and push them off the screen and kill them effectively. There are also ones you'll see eventually here that have little lightning bolts in them. If you land on it, whatever direction you're facing, it'll fire a lightning bolt in the opposite direction, which is very useful for some stages, and I believe this is going to be one of the stages that it shows off on that particular bubble. Okay, there it is.
First, I definitely would like to get rid of those belugas. But this is an interesting thing I've been noticing as I was been trying to practice this game as of late. I noticed that for some reasons, if maybe depending on the amount of bubbles on the screen, items that usually would appear may not actually appear anymore. But I'm not sure for what reason.
Not sure. I mean, sprite limit could probably have something to do with that. And every time you drop a bubble, you're adding another one to the screen.
I could see that.
So I like what they try to do for a lot of these bloody old Nintendo games to mitigate lag time and whatnot. You'll see a lot of flickering of characters or flickering of the sprites of the screen. That's trying to basically adapt to having the volume of sprites on the screen. So what will end up happening is you'll have certain sprites on one frame that will appear, but on the next frame won't be. So that's why you have the weird flickering going on. You see that through a lot of Nintendo games. Oh look, there you go. There's an umbrella. It's not the blue one, but there you go.
Actually, yeah, it was. I was thinking. Okay, I think it was the blue one. That's only 3 levels, but I got the 5 level one. As much as I didn't want to lose a life this early, I don't mind, since having the shoes would make it almost impossible to jump in the small gaps.
So as we progress, of course, the game gets more difficult. You get introduced to a few more characters. Not too many more. There's one more character that we have. Correct myself. There's 2 or 3 we haven't seen yet.
At least 2. At least 2.
And as it progresses, it does get a little bit more difficult. The puzzles get a little bit more interesting. But of course, every level, as it gets deeper, gets a little bit more difficult. There's one particular one that we're hoping that he gets to skip, but if not, well, we'll see it full on. And that's the infamous level 57. 57's quite a bit more difficult because it features features a rather more difficult bubble layout. It is still very beatable, but it's a lot more difficult to get better aim on your bubble action. Trying to get to where you want to go, so you can get up fast enough to get to beat the actual features of the stage. Nevertheless, onward we go.
Gotta love this level. Popcorn.
Yeah, popcorn can be easy or extremely difficult. If you manage to get one of those fireballs down before they get down, great. If not, you're going to have to deal with exactly what we have to deal with there. Then if you're unlucky, you only get like 2 little spots of fire. If you're lucky, you get like half a pan. The letters coming up. Don't mind that.
Oh, there's an item I would like.
Get that. Go. Yeah, that's a good one. There are a few items that do some very, very powerful effects. This particular one, the Death Heart, does exactly what you just see there. It actually stuns all of the creatures on the screen for a set amount of time, giving you ample opportunity to run around and kill them. Eventually, they can unfreeze if you can't get to them quick enough. but the fact that it makes you invincible in that meantime is awesome. Just charge them.
That unfortunately being one of those mini scenarios that I may not be able to get to an enemy just because of the level layout. Although it is possible via being able to pop and hop on the bubbles, but I have to also hope that there's enough bubbles in order for me to ascend from the ceiling to the floor or vice versa.
Yes, as Elrond mentioned earlier, there is actually an arcade version of the game. Generally speaking, the map layouts are pretty similar. There is some differences for as far as level layout in the Nintendo version. A lot of the levels are the same, but there may be some cases where one level that's in the arcade version might be bounced to a completely different place than the NES version, or actually the NES version having some levels that the arcade version doesn't have. But generally speaking, most of the levels are very, very similar, and still the great bubble popping game that we know and love, just a little bit more chaotic. Oh, there was Baron von Blubba. You only got to see him for like a brief second there, because Infinitemystery and all the guys before he was able to come out completely.
But unfortunately, he will be back.
Oh, he will be back, yes. Even if you do well, there are certain stages where you just like, yeah, no, he's coming. I like to call him the fail whale in honor of a cool YouTube video I saw way back when. It was a big Twitter joke. And, oh no, you summoned into the fail whale! And so he just bounces around the screen, tries to kill you. This cool little thing here bouncing around is a little that thing that you got money out of. It doesn't look like it's gonna be able to nail the rest of the guys, but maybe it's big. Oh, here we go. There's one. There's two left. Oh, there he is. It's Baron von Blubba. Baron von Blubba does not care where you are. He will get to you one way or the other. And hopefully you manage to take out all the enemies. Oh!
Was that close?
Yeah, it was. There you go. That's the fail whale. He comes out if you take too long to pop all the enemies, and he will disappear upon the destruction of the last enemy.
Or if you're hurt by him or any other enemy.
Also, what happens is, as it progresses, you have a certain amount of time to beat each stage. Like I said, if you run out of time, Baron will pop out. But once you get to a certain time threshold, you'll see that warning sign, which tells you that Blubba's coming. When that happens, every character on the screen goes into an enraged mode, which there's three ways that can happen. One is you're about to run out of time. Two, there is one enemy left. The last enemy goes into an enraged mode, which means he goes much, much, much faster on the screen. The other is if you manage to bubble the enemy, but you don't actually get him and he pops his own bubble before you can get to him, he'll actually pop out in an enraged mode. And the only way to undo any of the two of those options is to take a death, and the third option being, the last one on the screen. He'll be enraged until you get him. But if you're quick enough, you can actually kill all the enemies before they get that far.
Not sure what that was.
Listen, for the sake of more information there is actually 4 endings to this game. And to get those endings, the first one, the worst ending, is failing to collect the crystal ball in level 99 and then beating the game as 1 player. Or in second 2 player as well. The bad ending, because there's a worse, then there's a bad, is collecting that crystal and then beating the boss in single player. Yes, that's right, you have to be in multiplayer to get the good ending. So the first good ending is if you get the crystal ball in 99 and you have 2 players, and the second good ending is if you get 2 players and you beat the special levels, and then in 2 players with both players alive, you beat the game. Then you get the good ending, which also unlocks the sound. So to be able to see the good ending, you have to have two players. Now you can kind of trick the game and play most. Oh, there's a neutron. Boom! Kills everything on the screen. Beautiful. You can actually get to the final boss one player, the super final boss one player. But before you beat him, you have to like press start on the second controller to activate the second character. That's the kind of easy way to trick the best ending. But otherwise, on one player, even if you beat the super boss, there's no way you can get anything better than the bad ending.
It's worth noting that in order to, if you are able to pick up the crystal ball at level 99, you will have an extra set of stages before you see the super version of the boss, which requires 80 instead of 60.
And the super stages are something special in themselves. But at stage 99, there's a full process of things you have to do to get all that. You have to get the crystal ball, and then you have to get into the door. Once you've gotten into the door, then you can play those extra stages. If you're playing one player on the left side, it's very, very difficult to get that crystal ball in a timely fashion, because that crystal ball will spawn on the right side every time. So that you have to rush to the right side, and then once you've collected it, you have to sort of rush back to the left to get to the door. So it's extremely challenging to get the super mode on one player, even on a good day. You can see one of the effects of having the speed shoes. Sometimes it's very difficult to maneuver effectively with the speed shoes, like trying to get those through those little gaps. If you're moving too fast, you simply can't do it.
I was hoping for a bomb this level. Oh well.
These are the coilies. The highly coilies. They jump around the screen and try to mess with you. There you go. Now he could grab that end there, but he's not going to because he already has it. Hopefully, if he gets to the next stage, that end comes back to the team instead.
Oh, that's an item I do want.
Or we're not going to get lucky. It's going to be the end. So here's one of the first stages that features an infinite loop. Oh, by the way, you fall faster if you have to shoot too. See if you can grab the cross. Nope. Cross, I believe, is one of those items that does explosive.
There's two versions of that cross, actually. Unfortunately, that's the one I didn't want. But it would have been useful for those enemies in the corner.
Sure. So one of the cool things about this game is if you're quick enough, you can actually kill an enemy like you just did right there. You can sort of like touch, bubble, and break all in one action without dying. It's a really tight, really, really tricky state of existence for Bob or Bob, but it is possible and in some cases absolutely necessary to beat certain enemies that are tucked away. And here's one of the earliest instances we see of that creature. That creature is
Incindo.
Yep. Some of the creatures have the ability to throw or spit something. In this case, that guy spits a quick fireball. The little drunk guys, little willy whistles, which look like little kinds of ropes. They throw bottles. Stoners will throw fireballs. You see those occasionally here. There's also the super sockets. We haven't seen any super sockets yet. That's the last creature we haven't seen. Those ones are why the stage 57 is the bane of our existence.
And beyond.
More insidious mistakes, lots of them.
Whoa! Don't you dare jump! that Incindo really wanted to make sure I didn't reach that bomb.
There you go. He finished limited by Pepsi and Vader Coke with bottle Coke. That's right.
I'm afraid to jump because I know I'm gonna get hit by the beluga.
Yeah.
That's such a terrible position to be in. Oh, thank you.
It's rough because you get stuck in these spots where you have to make the decision sooner or later, and there's really no good way about it.
Fortunately,
or they just wait till it gets faster and just nail him when he comes down. That works too. Alright, let's see if you can nail one of those lightning bolts. Get two for one, 3 for 1. Oh, there's Baron. There's 2. Oh, barely missed.
How did I not?
There you go. We got one more. Get it.
Ah. Oh, now he's gonna get now Baron's gonna get much faster.
Bob's brother's looking for blood. Looking for blood. He's gonna start speeding up. Oh, there it is. There he goes. Looking for blood.
Ah.
For you.
I couldn't avoid it for too longer.
There you go.
So much for being able to get into that gap. Now the lightning bubble helps.
He's coming for you. 1, 2, blood was coming for you.
SOS.
4, better block your door.
Oh,
Sauce.
love these when the potions show up. Basically just turns your the stage you're on into a bonus stage. And it also ends the level.
Nice, comfy little free area. Room full of cleans, or coilies.
It's nice how basically every enemy in the game has at least one of their own stage themes.
So when you have to make 100 and some odd levels, and you figure sooner or later, it's like, what do we got? Pick one after the characters. Hey, that's an idea. Let's make 20 levels based off their own characters.
I like it.
I mean, it works.
It does.
Wrong with it. Oh.
Appropriately named Ouch for a reason. Maybe.
Oh, yes. Ouch. But then if you've ever played Centipede before, this is not Centipede, but this is one of those levels having the fast bubble ability, which is green bubble, is immensely useful because you can rail out a bunch of those guys really quick. Without a doubt, absolutely, the green and blue, or just the red alone, are immensely useful. 4 of those things on the screen, not
And
one.
not a T. I was just thinking
Really?
the same thing.
4 of those things on the screen, not one of them is useful. That's amazing. That is absolutely amazing.
I think that's only maybe the second or third time I've ever witnessed that.
Yeah, to do that, you have to hit like a lot of them at once. But I think that might have been the result of taking jump too. I don't know. There's a lot of special magic items in the game. Each one does. Yeah, there's the blue necklace makes these special extend bubbles appear. So you may have hit that and spawned all those. Got the good extendo bubbles there.
The game doesn't want me to skip one level.
One ladder. One single ladder. So is how it goes. So is how it works down to. Oh, there we go. There's our not so friendly friend.
Ah. That's unfortunate.
Those are the laser jerks themselves. Those are the super sockets. They claimed another victim.
One good power up later, and well.
Yep.
But at least the water bubble helped this time.
Yeah, those water bubbles are absolutely amazing. If you can get them timed and placed right and hit it at the right time, it's beautiful. It's worth the art.
Fries. Been waiting for those to show
Or
up.
they could do exactly what they just did there and annoy the crap out of you and throw you back into the arena, or just wrap you around the bug a bunch of times.
The Super Socket troubles levels begin, but fortunately in this level we won't have to deal with that.
Oh, snap.
Why can't that happen on 57?
Right? So this is one of the first levels that gets really super tricky, and that really does require you to be able to jump literally through a wall and bubble at just the right time. This is where you really learn to love and live inside of that lovely ability to wall clip vertically.
Thanks, game.
That's timing. That's timing.
It's fortunate that the majority of enemies, at least the ones who can jump, will actually try to reach wherever you're at.
Yeah, if you're above an enemy, the AI tells you to try to jump up. Alright, here we go. The super soldier there. A couple of them super soldiers. Thankfully, you got the bubbles, so that makes life a little easier.
Yep, just make usage heavily of the water bubbles. Don't even try to fight the enemies on their terms. They'll have plenty of chances. Oh, well, I was gonna pop a couple of bubbles, but I'll just let the cross do the work for me.
I love those magic bags.
Ice cream.
Flooded.
Well, popsicles, I should say, rather. Since there actually is ice cream in the game, too.
Wait a minute, is this pickle? All the icicle pops up. I'm like, hang on a second. When does this turn into pickle?
Maybe.
We played that one already. What the heck? Yeah, I believe in the Japanese version, the bottle there, the whistle willies, are called the drunks. I will have to confirm that. But
that's the term I've always heard for so
right.
many years.
I think they probably changed that for the American version for obvious reasons. I'm like, yeah, probably not a good idea to keep up with that.
One more away from one of those infamous levels.
Yeah, that's the original Japanese for the name was the Doranku, or drunks. That was actually the original name. That's always what I've told them to do. Looking at the game guide, that's not what they're calling them. Why? American version. I know now.
Hello, 57.
Alright, here we go. We might be here for a minute, that's fine.
Unfortunately. I basically have to pray to any RNG and hope that one decent item shows up to clear the enemies. Otherwise, I have to align the bubbles enough to stay in the center and climb up there.
Yeah, it's something special. You handle it just fine with that.
Only because the hurry message didn't come up.
Yeah, you handle that just fine.
Probably the game giving me a
better
break.
than I would have done.
Probably the game giving me a break because it knew how my practice attempts went.
Yeah, it's really easy for especially casually stuck on that level for an eternity because you have to do exactly what you did and you have to do it quickly. Otherwise, it's such a pain. Sometimes you can get lucky to extend through it or get an umbrella through it, but it's not always going to be the case. Yeah.
It's nice being awarded the dinos since they actually, for some reason, you get a lot more points than normal. Sometimes it could even result in an extra life. Nothing useful for this level. Now, while I could actually just follow the super sockets, that's going to take a while unless you have the shoes. So just wait at the top for them to come back. Hi, Baron. Bye, Baron.
Oh no, it's the fareway.
Now, what's the likelihood I'll be able to dodge Baron until the super sockets show back up? Oh, never mind. That works.
Good job. There you go. Right. What sucks on some of these stages is some of these guys will get tucked away in like the worst spots, and you have to deal with them.
Yeah, I'm not fond of.
Because here you have to either get underneath of them on the right side there, or kind of tuck in to the top right. Very carefully. Now you've got a bit of bone that you can get under there. Or it's just jump through. There's a couple ways of doing it. You go underneath, you have to dodge the shot. You go around, you have to get lucky with a close shot. So there's a couple ways of doing that there. Yep.
It's only too bad the super sockets can't jump, but that might be a good thing as well.
Oh, if they could jump, I think this game would be too, but I was freaking level 10. Jumping super sockets would be just stupid.
I knew the laser was eventually going to hit me.
So, reading from the manual, here are some hints and tips for your Bubble playthrough. First one, the air currents move the bubbles around, so plan your shots accordingly. Grab magic bonuses as often as you can, as they will help you overcome these beasties. Sometimes the best strategy is to let the beasties come to you. Baron Bubble disappears as soon as you burst the last beastie on the screen. Bursting a water bubble can help knock out many beasties, it's also a great way to escape. When you burst a thunder bubble, point Bub or Bob in the opposite direction where you want the lightning to travel. And beasties can escape from bubbles, so watch out. They're going to be very, very angry. Or just kind of trap them in a hole and that gets you like an angry too. So whatever. Okay. It's also say sometimes two players are better than one. That's true. However, what they don't tell you is if you want the good ending, you have to play two players. They could take the time to make you play through an hour and a half video game and not tell you that you have to have two players to beat it. Secret super ending.
Level 62, another version of level 18, but with much worse enemies. And here's level 63, the beta version of level 57.
I mean, you're not wrong. Oh, this book is, Book of Thunder. Actually, there's the Book of Thunder and there's the Book of Death. That would be the Book of Death that you just got. Oh, look, the water's clicking. So cool. What a wonderful design.
Nice being able to have used iframes after a death. Now 65 I'm not fond of, because if there was a really good item, look where they put it.
That's a big no. You want that candy. You know you want that candy. Yeah, sure, I want that candy with all the laser death that's pouring down on it. Beautiful. Well done, yeah. Perfect. Proof.
This level I'm not fond of just because of you can't really tell what's solid ground and what isn't.
It's an interesting feature that they added to the game that you can walk through blocks, but it's not an interesting feature when it becomes a required mechanic to get to certain stages. Of course, they show you pretty early on some of those things that you can do with that, so by this point, they kind of figured that you'd have a general system that you're able to handle, but it doesn't make it any easier.
Here's the second beta version of level 57. Oh, and there are more.
Oh, snap. I don't know when we missed this. We did miss this a little bit earlier. Pound Cakes donates $16 and says, let's get that banana. Keep coming. Let's get those incentives back. Thank you very much, Con Cakes.
Thank you, Concakes. Enjoy some fries.
Yes, just to remind everybody, we do have incentives that which you can donate for. I'm going to go ahead and throw up the donate thing in the chat there. Please take the time to take a look at it. Please consider if you have the ability to donate towards the incentives. We've got plenty to go towards and less time to do it in. So if you'd like to see any of these special incentives, please consider donating to see those. We're very, very close to the Banana Prince Blind Room and Toad, Anthole, and Concake. We're only $20 away from that. The boy wants to drop the big 2-0 on that one. That would be fantastic. We are, let's see, also $20 away from the Big Kids Blind Race with Toad and others. We are about $50 into the Mario Brothers 2 Warpless category. There's plenty of things to donate to, but that Banana Prince one's only $20 away, and that Big Kid one's only $20 away. So if anybody feels like dropping in and making one of those happen, please do make those happen. Got another level here. Awesome. Little collect the cookie level. Believe it or not, Tickle's Cubicle, the one I actually played yesterday, actually has these levels too. You collect the ring and it covers the area in cookies. The only thing is, though, to get that, you have to have a near perfect run to get from, which up until recently I never did. So like I didn't even know it was in the game. I'm like, oh cool. We got the Olympic Torches level. There's 2 of them. I don't know why. Some coilies down at the bottom. Pop that fire. Oh, there he goes. So the fire is kind of a double-edged sword as well. It'll automatically kill any of the creatures that hit it. The problem is, if you walk through it, it makes it difficult for you to walk or jump out of it. It's very, very difficult to do so. Also, you can't spit bubbles while you're in it, so you just get all sorts of locked up while you're running around and fighting. You don't die from it, which is cool, being a dragon and all, or dinosaur or whatever, you kind of immune to some of those effects, but still. So he's just picked up the firebolt cross. Basically, instead of shooting bubbles, now he's just shooting fiery death from the sound. Glorious, glorious fiery death. And this is a kid's game, by the way. just remind you.
Since unfortunately I can only have since as long as I have access to this weapon, I can't fire any bubbles. So now I'm in a situation where I have to hit these enemies. But the item also lasts for so long. It's a curse and a blessing. And I'm trapped. Hello, Baron. Nice to see you here. I can't escape. Thank you.
You hear my only hope. Terribly important. Terribly important. The double-edged sword of the fireballs. But this is high tech. There's it on the screen right there. Big Mike, 1983, donated $20 and says, "Let's get bananas! B-A-N-A-N-A-S! Bananas! Bananas! Bananas!"
Thank you, Big Mike.
Good stuff there. So we will be doing the Banana Prince game there. That will make something nice with that. Banana Prince blind run with Toad and Pancakes. That'd be fun.
Can't wait. Now this Nintendo is in quite the spot.
If you can, it's one of those things where if you can get one of those water bubbles to float to the right side well enough, or
There we go.
you can do that one. Good play.
Our friends the Bubble Busters are back. Too bad it's in a level that they can't do anything. Maybe 74 will be a bit more threatening for Super Bubble Bobble next time.
More of these guys running around, fire shooters. We're almost there. We are 75 out of 100 levels there. 99 in a boss, but are you going to be grabbing the special levels as well, or are you just going to go for...
Considering how bad practice is going, it'd be better if I didn't try those levels, as I actually haven't had a chance to practice those.
Well, it does say you do have to do that. We'll do that.
The only level I even remember special wise was the one where it's just nothing but free fall.
Yes, that one's coming up, isn't it?
Only in the special level.
Oh, okay. It's been a while since I played through the special stages. I've played this game a lot. I just don't remember where all those fun stages are.
It would be quite similar to this, just without the small section of the floor.
Right.
Although once I get to it, I'm still scared of what could happen in 96. The super sockets in this level were probably thinking, I'm free falling, but I can't hit anything. Why?
Yeah, this is a funny. I actually didn't even notice that. Originally, I think probably an arcade game, but I didn't even know that until pretty much developed at that point. But the arcade one is a lot of the levels are very similar, but it's quite a bit more hectic. Of course, arcade difficulty is like ramped up. Same game.
From what I read recently, between the different versions made for multiple systems and handhelds, there were some power-up changes as well.
Yeah, and for the Nintendo version here, same, but some of them, again, as I mentioned earlier, were swapped out with the arcade versions, or the arcade versions are the same levels, but the NES one has additional levels, and some got swapped. Nintendo has some new ones that weren't in the arcade, so on and so forth. Yeah, this is one of the few games, though, to my knowledge, that the only way to get the good ending is to have multiple players. The little actual only way to get a good ending is to have multiple players. I mean, I get it. The game really lends itself to it. It's just silly.
I'm not sure if a safe method to approaching those enemies. Since they'll never actually get through that gap. Okay, much better.
Yeah, I don't think they can actually get up into where your character stands.
Hi, Baron. See you another round.
So there are actually, I think, like 3 or 4 audio tracks top of this game. You don't really hear one of them. Unless you get to the boss, game over, or have the title screen, so there's 4 notable. And 5 if you manage to beat the game. But you only ever really hear the 1 or 2 frequently. The stage 1 and the game over one.
I'm just gonna stay right here and hope that the item will somehow reach the bubble busters. Here we go.
Shotaro! I think Shotaro was one of the people who made the game.
I was wondering about that.
Yes. Actually, hold on. Shotaro was one of the sound people. Yeah, I pulled up the credits of the game, and sure enough, it's one of the people on it.
This is one of those levels I wished there was some kind of item for it, because to reach the majority of the enemies, I have to...
No, like, really good way to get in and through this level without getting yourself handled by the circuits. It's still not the worst one. I mean, again, I'm so biased by 50 because of 57, but it's just way. Oh, Bubble. Oh, Bubble.
And even if I did have, it probably that would have only benefited me if I actually had the extra lives like I do now. But I really don't need these shoes.
Yeah, there are places where having the shoes is great. There are places where having the shoes is essentially a death sentence. This is pretty close to the ladder.
Here, Baron. Thank you.
Kill me! Oh, no, 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 no. You can do actually nothing.
Good, that gets rid of most of the super sockets. But I really didn't. I was really hoping the belugas wouldn't have hit me.
Yeah, green candy is really the crux of the game. If you can hold on to that as long as possible, you're going to be alright. It's one of the most essential items of the game. The blue candy's nice, but only compared with the green candy. Blue candy on its own can actually be a detriment, because you don't fire as fast without it. Unless it does green. So you're going to sit there and have to wait until that bubble gets almost full length away from you before you throw out the next shot.
By the time I even manage to reach the enemy, Baron will get me.
Oh, Baron, why?
That was definitely an error on me not remembering I need to be on the right side. Trying to go from the left side is just not advised if those enemies are already cleared.
Von Beloved intensifies.
Come on, Baron. I don't need the shoes. Thank you. The game just doesn't hesitate to give you the shoes at all. Anything else? Yep.
And to speak for them, the shoes aren't really that bad of a power up. It's just on some levels when you're trying to do certain maneuvers, the inertia that you build up or that you use to move, or the movement doesn't always work in your favor. Because when you're moving and you jump, sometimes you'll make a full fast jump, and sometimes you'll make like a half hop, and it doesn't always work quite the way that you think it should. So the shoes are 50-50. Sometimes they're worth it, sometimes they're not. Because if you're trying to dodge, absolutely, they're absolutely worth it. But if you're trying to do some slick maneuvering, shoes really are injured. Well, like Grant, if I go back and look at the world records and find like all of them, like, oh, shoes all the way through, but like, maybe I'm wrong, but it's just very likely. But the thing that's never bad is the green or the blue candy, or even better yet, the red candy, which gives you both power-ups.
Although unfortunately the red candies, unless it's based on a points issue, it doesn't really show up until much later.
Yeah, they really don't want to give you anything but the stinking shoes.
At this point, I'd even take one of the candies. Hmm. Well, that's one way. And the question is, can I get back in here before Ben?
Fine, you got this. So while Infinitemystery is working on this again, I just want to point out that we are here for charity purposes. We are here supporting the Random Acts charity all weekend. 100% of donations sent this weekend will be sent to Random Acts to help us combat global child hunger. You can donate here at the stream link that we just dropped in the chat. And for reference, that also shows all of the incentives that we have for the rest of the marathon. There are 4 major incentives left. We have the Castlevania all wall meat category, sitting at 20 out of 150. We have the Chippendale all apples category, the DuckTales all cakes and ice cream category, and the last one, Super Mario Bros. 2 worthless category. That one is actually $50 in, and it's $150 more. So if you feel that you want to see more of this awesome stuff, we're going to be going through Monday morning. So there is no shortage of content this weekend. We appreciate you joining and letting your friends know that we're doing this. If you would like to donate, please be all by all means do so. If you're unable to do so, being here, we appreciate that as well. So again, thank you for hanging out.
Well, if the game decides to graciously give me another weapon, it's just too bad that even on the slightest angle, it's not going to be able to hit any of the enemies trapped on the inside.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure how they determine what items get spawned in. Obviously, there's definitely a bias towards the specific ones that flow in. I look at the bias is definitely more towards but it looks like you got that puzzle there for 2 minutes. Although, as you can clearly see, you can't get into the inner circle of things, so it's just going to hang out and bounce on the outside. Right there. You know, eat them. You got this. You got one enough circuit left. You can reach Lava. Lava ain't got nothing on you.
Finally.
Ain't got nothing on you.
I would have preferred most weapons.
Well done. Well done. Oh snap. I just saw that too. I apologize. Big Mike Knight also donated another beat those kids. Big kids blind race go. Keep those donations rolling. So that actually was why I only saw 4 on the list instead of 5. The Big Kids blind race was that. Thank you again for that Big Mike.
Thank you, Big Mike, again.
Well, again, for not paying attention. Goodness gracious me. Big Kids is a fun little game. I don't think I've ever actually beaten it, but it's definitely an interesting game. It's got that lovely Super Mario Bros. 3 feel to it, but it's a little weird, it's a little tricky, it's a little more open world, in the sense that when you get in love, it's not just beating the level, you're actually looking for the item of the game. You'll see that with like a solo that Oh, there goes the bottle. Trump try to knock you out. I don't know. We probably should be calling him by what the end was.
I don't know. Personally, I like the Japanese name for it. Oh, is that what it was? I was just thinking about the drunks, but that
Well, I
was.
mean, that's literally what it means. But whistles. Those are the lily whistles. You hear the term wetting your whistle as in drinking alcohol. So still,
I can see
they're
it.
still technically drunk. So
I can see it.
that's still technically what it is, I guess. Alright.
Hello, Baron again.
Look back. No. Baron, please.
He wasn't gonna give up.
No.
And the super stock, and unfortunately, it was in such an awkward place.
Got him. Nice. Yeah, some of the levels aren't too bad, but you can get some like this one here that is like a nerd. He's coming. Oh, they're all right there. The timing almost has them.
Sometimes it works. Other times the iframes just, yeah. I think it was an iframe issue. Even if you're facing a wall and you happen to blow a bubble not toward the enemy, you only have a limited amount of frames that you can utilize. So enemies just can't be too close together. Otherwise, the majority of the time, it will work.
PFDC! I have no idea if that stands for anything. Might. Let's see. Oh, nope. PFDC is actually one of the producers. I keep looking at the credits. I'm like, it has to be something. Yeah, it is. The next stage is actually an homage to something too. I'll give you about 20 seconds to guess what that is once you get there.
I have no clue, actually. I've been curious about this for a long time.
And it is Darius. Darius is actually one of Taito's shooters.
I thought the name sounded familiar.
So they did that for a lot of these levels. They put a name of one of the people that was actually in the creation of the game, or they put a name of one of the other Taito's games. So you see some of these weird names popping up at the level design. That's what they were doing there. They're basically making in-game credits in a manner of speaking. Or just like, we don't have anything else. Make the name one of it.
So here, want a level? Sure.
This level, it's a carrot. Cool, moving on. This level. What's your name? Shotaro. Yes, done.
STA.
Let's see. STA. I'm going to guess it's probably another one of the people on here, but let's see. Nothing's really standing out for that one for as far as that particular one. But I would probably guess that's also one of the creators. Because there's a couple STs throughout the credits, but STA, I don't see that one.
Thank you, Potion, for showing up.
Bonus time. Here, collect these spiny flowers. Therefore, win!
And if there were two people playing, it would just be for whoever gets the most when this happens. Just points.
Let's put a balloon in the middle of the screen to the screen design.
How fortunate for these bubble busters to just be in one spot. So, why bother doing anything? Yeah, hurry, okay. They're angry. That's fine. But I would like one of these lava items to reach the center.
This is kind of a puzzle. As they show on the screen, they'll start trying to push those. Oh, that works.
Not how I expected it or wanted it, but I'll take it.
Not at all how I didn't expect it to work, but it did. There we go.
Fortunately, only because those bubble busters can actually jump.
Correct. Not all the creatures can jump, but those ones definitely can. Crazy. I got more incendios there.
Now, if those were, say, super sockets, that would be much worse.
Yeah, that level this one suck. You have to get up before they start firing. Have the fire to get it. I'm done.
Take that, Incendio. Now here's the sequel to 57. The true sequel.
This one doesn't give you the benefit of the central rail. However, this one does give you the fact that those guys cannot cross the full threshold of the screen. So that's a nice thing here. Right there. This is significant. For 57, you have to bust them by going up the center. For this one, you climb the sides. Oh! It's the failway!
Unfortunately, even if you do manage to get up to the top, but you don't manage to actually get rid of them, you're stuck up there until you jump on bubbles to get back to the starting point.
Nice stuff, by the way.
Thank you.
Wouldn't choose them,
Thanks, Baron.
Dang, Baron. Oh, there was one hiding in there.
Yeah, I was wondering about that myself.
Oh, we got this, Pop. There's another one! Why are there so many? One. Little fortress here.
I actually forgot that power-up actually does have the same effect as the
Bobble of Amontillado.
yeah.
There you go. Whoop. fires actually show you exactly where your surface is too, so you know where you're able to stand.
Ooh, I do not want to fall. Ah. Hmm.
We're almost there. This is 92. He's got a handful of levels to go and take out the super Grumble Grommet.
Oh, I can't wait for that.
That's a fun fight. It's when you first nice. Nice little screen ball. When you first fight that fight, you're like, oh, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? Murder. And it's like, oh, you have to rush up, grab the item, jump back down, and then take them out. You have to do it easy, otherwise you're just in trouble. But watching that fight done expertly is just a work of art. It's just absolute work of art. But nevertheless, it's a fun fight. It's definitely a unique one.
Even more fun with 2 players.
Oh yes. You get 2 players, you can just pretty much stomach him to death. It's really cool. You can almost do it with 1 player if you do it right, or if you have the power up to do it. ST is one of the creators. There's actually a couple of creators in the list that have the initials ST. There's a programmer that is ST. There's a planner, as well as the producer, all the initials ST. KZM is a programmer, Dunker KZM, or Drunker KZM, technically is what it says here. So sort of like the really cool little in-game credits that you play, so you get to see their names for a solid bit while you're trying to beat the level. Forget real credits, just put their names on the level. 95, almost there.
Tempting. Alright, so I can't. I forgot I can't fall through.
No, it's right there.
I actually forgot I couldn't fall through.
Oh well. Nice. Okay. But yeah.
Whoa.
Darn it, level 1.
Phew.
Baron von Bobble.
I'm glad the game decided to let me jump over Baron.
It's close. This is really close.
Here's one of the end levels along with that I don't like. Just because of the curious position where those super sockets are.
Oh yeah, right. This is one of those levels where if you're not playing it as 2 players, is very, 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 very cool. Because if you play with 2 players, you can be quick enough to get those guys before they fall in those little gaps. If you don't, then you have to deal with them, and it's a nightmare. And as 1 player, you only have the absolute opportunity to do one side quickly.
Bob might be making an appearance shortly, just because of this level. Especially just now because of time constraints.
And again, just to remind everybody, we are doing this as a charity event. This is our 2nd annual BB charity drive. We do have several donation incentives that we would like to have tonight to be able to show you guys more awesome content. Again, everything donated goes to the charity itself, the Random Acts Charity. If you want to see what incentives we have remaining. You get that little link right there. You not only can click on that to donate, but you can also see what we have left. We have 4 available incentives remaining. We have Capturing All Wall Meat run. We have Chippendale All Apple run. We have DuckTales All Cake Ice Cream run, and Super Mario Bros. 2 Warp Run. A little bit in the pool for the Capturing Mario Bros. 2 run. But if you're interested in donating, please go ahead and choose incentives and donate to that. If not, again, we appreciate having you here. We appreciate your support for being here, hanging out with us and watching some of the awesome games here. I love the strategy. Perfect. Beautiful.
Try that one more time. That should work. It's the only way that I can do it properly now.
Okay, if it works, you know what? At this point, it's fine. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Just roll it in.
Okay. Back to 1 player.
Perfectly valid.
Yep.
Perfectly valid strategy. Perfectly valid strategy. Don't worry about it. Don't even fret. 97. Let's go. And if you have levels like this that are vastly more easily understood, they just involve a lot more things. They have things that are much more painful as well.
No decent power up. Aw.
Find a way to get those guys free. There's the prisons. Lightning bolt. Lightning bolt. Lightning bolt. Zan.
Welcome.
Alright, 98. 2 more to go. I'm in the boss.
Oh, this. I'll take it. Thank
It
you.
is supposed to be a key, but those look like would blow come.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh, it's that. Thunderbolt of Death.
The last good power up we'll see for the whole game.
Yeah. Alright, 99. So 99 has a tactic here. You want to see the slightly better ending, you have to grab the crystal. The crystal spawns on the right side, so you have to be very quick to get to it. And if you want to see the secret ending of the secret level, you have to grab not only that crystal, you also have to grab the door that'll appear where that one little floater helicopter is sticking out at. And unfortunately, wasn't able to get it there. Doesn't mean we can't finish the game. It just means we'll see more of the slightly better ending. Because the 4 endings are basically like bad ending, not as bad ending. Okay, you finished. Good, fine, whatever, good to you. And then oh hey, you did it!
I was hoping one of the upper shark enemies would show up before Baron.
If only you could bubble Baron. Of course, then the whole point of that character being there wouldn't make sense. But yeah, getting this crystal ball does not win you the level. It just is the precursor to having one of the better endings, or the ability to go into. But then even after you get it, you still have to make your way into that secret area entrance. So it's still pretty tricky. There we go. Got 2 balloons left there on my screen.
Ah. And the belugas did not want to be bubbled.
Give them a chance there. also, you notice the bubble time for these guys is very, very short. Oh, beautiful shot.
Yeah, if only the beluga could come down here. I need that lava right now, but that's gonna be a problem. Rats.
Baron, no! You know, all this talk of Baron makes me want pizza. Speaking of pizza, that reminds me of food. Reminds me of this event where we want to get food to feed the kids. So if you want to consider donating.
I could sure go for that burger that I couldn't unfortunately get.
Oh, that burger looks good. Mm-hmm. Reminds me, I've got burgers in the fridge. Reminds me that sometimes some kids don't have those burgers to eat. So if you consider donating. Laying it on thick, that's all.
It's for a good cause, no worries.
It is. I mean, we kind of make light of it, but at the same time, it really isn't a light subject. I mean, there are so many places around the world, even in our own country, even in the U.S., where there's just so many kids that just don't have the opportunity to have any kind of food,
Wow.
to have any chance to be satiated, have any chance of satiation, and it's not a cool thing. So it's really cool to have a group like the Random X charity group to put on as many events as they can, and we're happy with RGL TV to be able to step up and to be one of those people who help not only just their efforts, but the general global effort of just trying to do what we can to help out. Even even it may be a small amount in the overall grand scheme of things, it's still something that can go to helping at least a small number somewhere. So in all seriousness, help us combat global childhood hunger by donating at that link there. For 100% of donations this weekend, you go to support the Random X charity. Let's feed them kids! As we feed the Bobble, as we feed Bub here in his quest to save his lady friend.
Unfortunately for Bub, he's almost out of time.
No, you got this. It's only 2 levels. Fine, keep going. Keep going! Consider it a bonus incentive.
Only I could get that lava to drop down. Oh, there we go. Well, at least the game awards me some ice cream. The last I'll see.
Alright, here we go.
I'm just gonna take this stuff here because
I
won't even dare try that with one life.
So you're going to see the strategy here is going to try to get up to the top of the screen here at some point, or take a shot to the face with the bottle. Get up to the screen, grab that super bottle of Super Zappy Potion. The Super Zappy Potion turns your bubbles into lightning bolts, which you can then break and zap him with. You see at the top of the screen, the number in the top middle of the screen, that's the life bar, the life amount of that, of the Super Drunk. So the Super Drunk's motion is basically to bounce kitty corners throughout the screen. As it turns around, if you are in front of it, it will fire off the drunk bottles. If you are not in front of it, it'll just kind of float that way. So the goal is to stun lock him as much as possible and just really get him down with them. He does have like 60 hit points, so you have to hit him with at least 60 bolts which sounds like a ridiculous amount, but when you look and see you can break like 5 or 6 of these at once, and hit them with the majority of them, it's not as bad as it looks. It is quite a bit for a game like this, but yeah, you know what? Whatever. Let's go.
Ooh.
This guy's name in the US version is Ruffles Gromit. In the original Japanese version, yes, he is the Super Gromit. For the light here. And of course, it's just the localization. They really didn't want a character named Drunk as, you know, one of your enemies. So close, so close.
Not too bad. Bob couldn't join us, and that's time.
Aw, snap.
Barely. Bad end. This is not the true ending. Take the magical crystal ball, and you will find the door to the secret road. Maybe an incentive for next time, but might need a much longer estimate. But that is Bubble Bobble. Thank you, Weapon, once again for commentary, for co-op commentary. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Stay tuned next for Princess Tomato and the Salad Kingdom.